everyone, welcome back to my channel, Lovely Lavender Wishes. It's Renee. I hope you're having a very blessed day. So we are going to start a new journal, and I have been wanting to do like under the sea type journal, I guess it's gonna be like oceany journal, and I have been playing with some inks, as you can see. But so if y'all want to craft along, this is probably going to be another like 10-part series or more. I don't even know. We'll just go and see how long it lasts. But today we're going to just be doing like a hodgepodge of things, just starting to get this journal ready. So I'm starting off with, it's already getting ink all over it. It's not going to matter. It's going to be covered. A large. This is a long file folder. I don't even know the length of it. Let's see, that's already 12 right there. It's probably 14. Yeah, it's about 14 by 9.5, like 14, something like that. 9 by 14 file folder. You don't have to start with this. I just had this in my garage, and so this will work perfectly. I also had this book, which apparently it's a Disney book. I'm going to gut. But I love this because it looks like sand, y'all, and we're going to cover this part. But I'm thinking, kind of like my Renaissance journal, I'm going to have the first part of the book. Gosh, y'all, I've got stuff everywhere. The first part of the book, like right here, and then when you get to the back, this part will open into kind of like a treasure chest. So the journaling part and papers will be here. And then we're gonna put some enclosure or something on here, and this will be open and into, I think, what I'm thinking right now, and it could change, will be like a removable piece, like another mini journal back here. Maybe removable, may not be, but it's gonna be kind of like our nature journal with a lot of different pockets, folders, flip outs, that kind of thing. This will be more of the journal part, all the paper part, and then this will be more of the pockets, folders, hidden spots, that kind of thing in the treasure chest. I don't know. That's my idea for now. We shall see. It might all change. But okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is, okay, so this part will be attached to this part back here. I'm not going to attach it right now. This I want to be about that length. I'm trying to see how I'm going to do this, y'all. So I want this to be here. So I'm trying to figure out where how big my spine is going to be. So I'm gonna bend it. So there's the first part. Right there. Okay, so there's my first spine part. And I'm going to grab my... So y'all, I don't measure. I just kind of do this all on the fly. Okay. So, let's make sure that that's in a groove. There we go. I hope I'm doing this right, y'all, while I'm on camera, because I haven't really thought this through too much. Okay, so we want this is going to be attached here. You want a little bit of space between your book, whatever book you're going to use. You don't have to have a book like this. You can paint a book, or you can even use another file folder if you want. I just had this book, so I'm going to use it. It's perfect. I barely have to do anything to it. I'm going to have to gut it, but I'm giving myself like a little 1/4 of an inch or so from the spine, from that part. Now I want this part to match up with that part. So I'm trying to think how big this spine will be. Well, why don't we just measure? We might have to measure a little bit. Okay, so this is about 6. So I'm going to measure from this side. Grab my pencil. See, I do all this on the fly, y'all. About 6. So here's 6. And let's go on this side about 6. So from there to there. Gosh, I have so much stuff on my desk because I was trying to figure out. Okay, so if the book is here, that's about how much space it's going to take, that spine. So that leaves me with this much space for maybe 2 signatures in here. So about, this is what? This is about 1 inch and this is about 2.5. So that leaves me with about 1.5 inches for a couple signatures. So that should be good. Perfect. Okay, so let's figure this out now. Do this. I need a bigger scoreboard, y'all. It works. It does its job. Okay. Okay, so that matches up. This will go back here. And this is going to be our journal. There we go. Just like that. So this is our spine. So my spine is about 2 3/4. 2 3/4 spine. That gives me enough space to put a couple signatures in here as well as have this there. There we go. Okay. See, I don't measure, I just use what I have, and then that's the size I'm going with. Okay, so let me move that. So, I'm trying to think what I need to do. Okay, so since this is gonna be in the back, I'm already gonna have a hard cover there. So what I would like to do is strengthen this part up. So I'm going to open this up. Eventually I'm gonna sew all this together, but I wanna strengthen this part and this part. And I have this little cardboard piece. Now, I wanna make it a little bit smaller than all the way around because I want to be able to sew the material on and sew this whole thing shut. And my sewing machine will not go through this, all this material, you know, between this board, both these pieces plus material and everything I have on the top, my little sewing machine won't go through that. So what I'm going to do is go maybe about 1/4 of an inch in, let me think, yeah. So then it'll have room, you know, it'll be able to go through and sew it all. But I'll still have the hard cover feel for the front cover, if that makes sense. Again, a lot of this will make sense as we get going. And it might not. I mean, I've got this image in my head and who knows if it'll actually work. And of course my cutter didn't even go through all that, so we're gonna have to, I'm always improvising, y'all, always. But yeah, so this journal is going to be using lots of greens and blues and some lavenders and maybe, you know, some coffee stain, you know, kind of sandy type. It's going to be vintagey ocean. It's not going to be like bright ocean, but vintagey ocean is my thought on this. Okay, so if you see here, I left myself like a border around this whole thing. So when I go in to sew, I'm gonna go sew around the edges and I'll just miss this and my sewing machine should be able to go through it all. That's the idea. We'll see if it actually works when I do that. Okay, same with, well, no, yes, yes. Same with this because I'm gonna need to sew at least the top and bottom. So I'm gonna keep myself so this one I'm going a little bit closer to the edge, but the top and bottom I'm keeping about maybe a 1/4 of an inch available. So let's see what it looks like once I get it all cut out. Yeah, this is some thicker cardboard that I had, but I want it to be almost like a hardcover book, but I'm using the file folder. The file folder is just going to be in the background, and I'm using the tan color because it's going to kind of look like sand, but I'm going to cover it with material. But if anything should show through, it'll be tan and kind of look like the sandbars. Okay, so let me move that and move this, and let's see. Yes, okay. So these will go in between here, and that'll strengthen the spine and the front cover. Yep, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to glue, let me think. Yes, I'm going to glue it just onto this back piece first. Let's get my glue started. Okay, come on. Just smear your glue on. No one's gonna see this part. It's gonna be on the inside. It's just gonna give some heft and weight to your cover. Okay. And your spine. And then what I'm going to do also, let me think. Not quite yet. I'm going to, once I get my cover on and all that, I'm going to, and when all this is together, I'm going to reinforce these creases right there with some of my tape that I use, let me see, my medical tape that doesn't tear. I'm gonna put that on the inside here to make sure those are reinforced as well. Okay, so this is what you should have right now. So you open up your file folder, and if you want to reinforce, you don't have to, but if you want to, I'm not going to reinforce the back page because again, this book is going to be right there, and so I will have this cover and this cover. That'll be the hard cover. So what I need to do now is actually gut this book. I love this. It just looks like sand, and I'm gonna probably, and this actually looks like driftwood too. The only thing I really need to cover is this part. This will be covered in the book anyways when I glue it in, so. Okay, let's see if I can even. Like I said, today we're just doing like a bunch of hodgepodge stuff, like just miscellaneous stuff, just trying to get this thing set up and ready to go. Okay. I think I need a new X-Acto knife, blade too, because this blade is, I'm gonna have to definitely look into getting another one of those. There we go. Whoops. There we go. You got to get it right in the right spot. There we go. this will be covered, so that doesn't matter. There we go. So this you can use for something else. I'm gonna put that to the side. And I'm just gonna cut this extra piece off. So there we go. And I sliced it through right there, just a tad, so. Let me make sure. So I might have to reinforce this on the outside with something. But actually I'm gonna reinforce it on the inside as well. Okay, so now I'm going to, let's move this. You probably are all looking at me going, that's not how you're supposed to do it. Probably not, but this is how I do it. This is how I do things, y'all. This is the Renee version. Okay. And I do eat every one differently. I do every single one differently. So, you know, there's no right or wrong way. I've tried so many different ways of doing these, and my nails have all gotten torn up. My fingers are atrocious. In a couple days, they'll be fine again. I'll just wash them. I tried to wear plastic gloves and it just wasn't working. I could do it better without wearing the gloves. So, okay, so I'm gonna glue this in and reinforce this spine. Again, this is just the base, y'all. Y'all know how things change as you go. Glue this side. And how it metamorphoses. It transforms into something totally different. Right now it just looks like a big mess, but it will transform it into something really cool, hopefully, when we're all done. Okay, so make sure while you're doing that you can, you know, bend it without any obstruction. And I'm actually going to put this tape here. This is just some medical tape that I had that you could use whatever tape you have. You can use masking tape, Tyvek, whatever you have. I just like this tape. I had it. I'm not using it for anything else, so I'm gonna use it for this. I think you can get this at like CVS, Walgreens, anything, any kind of medical tape for pretty cheap. My son had a bunch of this extra, so I kind of stole it from him. I'm like, oh, I'll use that. So again, that's going to reinforce. There we go. Easy peasy. Okay. So while I have this open, let me move this. I brought some paints. Let me grab this. Just put this to the side. Oh, let me grab a cup of water real quick. I'll be right back. To rinse off my brush with. Okay, so where is my brush? Put that in here. Okay, so I've got these little browns and tans and yellows. So actually, let's try this yellow first. Actually, I might just, there we go. We'll just put it right there on the thing, on the book. I want to cover these words up. I don't know. I mean, this is just going to be my first try here. If this doesn't work, I could always cover it with material or something else, but I wanted to kind of blend all this if I could in some way and cover these words at the same time. So let's see if this works. If it doesn't, like I said, I could always cover it with something else, but I want to try this first. Let this dry probably in stages and add layers to it. Let's see how far down this goes. There it goes. Yeah, the more I fool with it, the more the words will show through. So what I'm gonna do is let this dry first before I add the second layer. Or do I want to blend the colors? I don't know. We'll let that dry first. So I'll move that to the side. Let me move all the paint to the side. So we're gonna let this dry. Okay, we'll put you up there. Okay, so let's move on to what I was thinking of this. Okay, so that book's gonna go here. Here's gonna be the front cover. So I have this material. I thought it was really cool. It's not even a material. I think it was a scarf or something. But I love how it goes from light to dark and how it's kind of wavy already. So I am going to actually use this. See, it already had a tear in it. That's why I was like, oh, well, let's start. We'll use this. So let's see. This is gonna go on the outside. Now I'm debating on a couple things here. Oof. Wow, you don't even need that much material. I'm debating if I want to see, and that's why I'm gonna leave that color, because if it shows through, it kind of just looks like sand behind it anyways. I'm debating if I want to fold it over or have it, if I sew it, have it fray on the edges. And I think the frayed look would look really cool, because I also have this scarf. And I'm gonna have these hanging. This is gonna be kind of like the netting on it. And I think I'm gonna dye it a little bit. Okay, I'm trying to think through this, y'all, on camera. Okay. Let's just bite the bullet and do it, and we'll see if it works or not. Okay, so here's my front spine cover. Okay, so this part, where's my scissors? I am going to have it hanging over just a tad, because I'm not gonna flip it over. So I don't want this edge. I want a frayed edge, because I want it to look kind of like mermaidy, you know, seaweedy type. Does that make sense, y'all? Netting. I don't know. And I don't want to pull this taut. I want these kind of waves through it. So I want to keep it. Okay, so I'm going to cut this side. I need more space, y'all. Okay. I'm actually just gonna cut this whole thing. That'll make it easier. Okay, let's move this out of the way. Okay. I'm gonna cut along this bottom because I don't want that seam right there. So I'm just going to cut this off across the bottom. And that's why I'm going to have to sew this on, because we don't want it to keep fraying forever and ever. Well, I'll have to sew it. Okay, so we don't want that. It'll fray right off the whole thing if I did that. Okay. So that'll hang off the bottom. And I'm not going to get too much light. I wonder if I do it, no, I kind of like it like that. The wave's going this way. Now that I cut it, okay. I'm gonna cut this part, more hair, move hair. I'm gonna cut this part this way. And we'll use that for something else. Okay. So this will all eventually be on part of the cover. Okay, then the other thing I wanted to do, let's see. Okay, on the front cover, oh my gosh, this thing's huge. Okay, on the front cover, I wanted to do a really cool, like kind of a wave thing. I saw this on somebody's a long time ago, and it's stuck in my head, and I don't remember who I saw it from. I'll have to look it up so I can give them credit. And I want this to kind of be like netting, so it's gonna kind of like, let me see, here's the front cover. Okay, so this is gonna kind of come down and like swoop this way. Swoop that way. Okay, so where's the end of this? Let's just make it from the end. Make it easy on myself. So it'll kind of, I'll sew it on and it'll kind of like swoop like a wave or like a net. Okay, so I need to cut it. Kind of straight down this way. Across that way. Gosh, that was not helpful. I don't know if this will work. Let me see. Where's my pencil mark? Up there. If I cut it bigger, it's better. Okay. So I'll have this piece that will kind of, when I get it sewn, will swoop. And then I can cut off all these extra pieces, all these extra. I definitely want this off at the top. I don't want that sewn apart because we want it all to be all frayed. Okay. I know it doesn't look like anything right now, y'all. I'm hoping it will eventually. I'm hoping. And we'll have this hanging out. Okay, I also want to do, I'm trying to think, maybe a piece like that. Oh, I don't know. I'm gonna have to think on that. Okay, so this part, do we want to keep white or do we want to dye? Okay, so I was fooling around with dyeing this kind of material with some inks. I think that would look cool, having some white spots as well as some dye spots. This is still damp, so I'm still waiting for it to dry. So we might want to dye this just a tad, so it kind of looks, but I do want some white spots too. So, okay. Let me grab, well, might as well do some dyeing. Okay, so here's my idea. And what a lot of this I'm going to have to do off camera. So I did not attach these two yet. I'm keeping these open because what I'm going to do is take this part and eventually I'm going to sew this with waves, like wavy, different colors of thread, like white and blues and greens, and I want to like sew some waves in it, maybe up and down the spine a little. So I'm gonna do all that to this part while it's open, and then so all those wave threads will be on this side. Then when I close this and I get the whole thing together, and I have to sew this piece to this piece as well, and then when I close this whole thing, I will attach all of this together, and then I'm gonna sew around. So all this will be sewn on with like little waves, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. And then I'll put that together, and then I'm gonna sew around the whole thing. But this will be on the cover once I get it going. Okay, and I'm gonna try to figure out what I'm gonna do with the spine. I might just sew waves through this, different colored waves, or different threads of waves through the spine here and make it look really cool. Now for this, I wanna dye it, but I'm also going to add a variety of different, I have all these different threads, y'all. All these like really cool threads and I don't know, eyelash threads and what have you. And so I'm thinking I'm going to kind of put some glue on here just to hold it down, and I'm gonna have all these threads, put all these different colored threads on here. Gosh, I gotta find the ends to these. Like through this, so it's all gonna become like this like wavy, thready piece, and then I'm gonna have to take it to the sewing machine, and I also want to sew waves through here. So I'm gonna sew like little different waves, like, you know, sew it like this. Does that make sense, y'all? And then I will have to attach. So I'm gonna do this part separate and glue all the pieces on there and then sew it on, and then I'm gonna have to figure out how I'm going to sew it onto this piece, and then I'm gonna do the whole thing onto this piece. Okay, so that's my plan with that. So when we get back together, I'll show you how I did that, but it's all a lot of sewing, so it's all gonna be off camera and gluing and all that. But in the meantime, let's dye this at least a little bit. I want to also, since I'm going to start dyeing, let me get my gloves on because my fingers are just gonna, we'll see if I could do it with the gloves. It was hard trying to do it with these, so then I just took them off. Okay. Let's get all of our inks and what have you, and I also want to dye some ribbon for this, and also I might just do some cheesecloth, since I'm gonna have all the colors out. So let's do that as well. Let's move all this. Okay, so I'm gonna start with Mermaid Lagoon, peacock feathers, a little bit of Dusty Concord, and a little bit of Shabby Shutter. So some blues and greens and a little bit of purple. See, I can't get these off with these gloves. Ah! Okay, so all I do is put the ink on there, grab my water, and then I am just going to dab it in. The wetter this material gets, the more the ink will spread. But I do want the white showing through. I wish I had a bigger piece of, actually, hang on a minute, I think I do. I've got my Tim Holtz This would be clever. Except I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it as well, but let me move all those. Okay. So I'm just gonna put my ink on this. Again, I'm not sure if you'll be able to see it as well, but so I want patches of color. Okay. And then let's do, sorry y'all, it just sounds like just noise from these gloves. I got these at like, I don't know, CVS, Walgreens, dollar store maybe perhaps. Walmart maybe. Okay, it's getting there. Okay, let's do a little bit of green. I'm gonna do some patches of green. If I can get it to come out. Greenish yellow. Okay, let's get all this even so I'm not having all these noises. Sorry, y'all. This is how I work. Very messily, very sloppily, very loudly. My husband's always like, what in the world are you doing in there? I'm like, I'm crafting. I'm crafting. Okay, cool. So see, now we've got like some whites, some greens, some blues. Now let's do a little bit of purple. That was the look I was kind of looking for. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't, y'all. I just didn't want it all stark white. And then when you wet it, the ink reacts and will blend in a little bit better. Oh, I like that. I mean, it looks a little muddy right now. It needs to dry. But I love the fringes. It's got like different, look at that, different blues and purples and some greens on the fringe. Love it. Okay. That's what I'm looking for. Okay. Well, I'm going to let this dry. So let's just put that right there. Actually, I don't know if it'll stain anything, but so this one I got really wet and then just soaked it all up, and all the colors kind of ran into each other and muddied each other. This one I didn't get as wet, and just like this one, so you have more of patches, and I liked this better. This one got a little too, I don't know, too saturated with color. I want kind of like the white, I want it like patchy like that is the look I'm going for. But if you want this look, you want to get it more wet. Okay, so let's do a bunch of ribbons since I've got these colors out. I'm gonna do like some blue ribbon. These are what I'll be using for my tags and such. So I'm gonna get my ribbon wet. Not too wet, because I do want, again, I want this to be patchy. I don't want it to be like all one color. And then let's put some peacock, or was that the one I just did? No, I don't think it was. I don't remember. Okay, I'm gonna let that dry. So I've got, once it dries, the ink will settle into different areas depending how the the ribbon is laying. So I'm gonna have some darker blue areas, some lighter blue areas. So I like that. I also want to do one with some like purplish. I don't know how much I'm gonna need, so I'm just pulling a bunch, and we'll be using this throughout the journal. Just have fun with it, make a mess. You know, might as well. You're gonna get messy anyways, just have fun with it and just go for it. Go for the big old mess. Ooh, that's gonna look cool. Again, the wetter you make it, your ribbon, the color will disperse more. Ooh, I like that. Okay, so that I'm gonna leave because I love those different patches. Now, if you want it all to blend more, you would just get it really wet and squish it more, but I like that. So we're gonna leave that. Let's do some like green and blue ribbon. So I'm gonna have different pages, different. I don't know, different shades of the blue and colors and stuff. Having a hard time, y'all, getting this off. This is more like a yellowish green. Like a seaweedy green, maybe. And I'm picking up a little bit of purples from the last one, even. Let's get some color right there. Okay. So that's more. So we've got blue, yellow, blue. We've got a purple and blue. Imagine putting those together. It's gonna look really cool. Okay, so I'll let those dry. Let's do one more. Let's see. Let's do blue, purple, and some of that yellowish. How are we doing on time now? Oh my gosh, 45 minutes already, y'all. Time just starts flying. Okay, I'll finish this up and I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with the paper. And then I'll work on that this afternoon and try to do some of the sewing and all that that we really can't do on camera. And then when we get back together, I'll show you what I did. Okay, this one I'm not sure if I'm too happy about, but hey, when it dries, it might look really cool. It kind of looks, oh yeah, it might look really cool when it dries. Looks like underwatery, perhaps. Okay, so that one's like a hodgepodge of all the colors. Okay, so I'm gonna let that dry as well. Okay, so let me grab the paper. I'm gonna show you what I'm gonna do with the signatures, or at least the first part of it. It's a long process, so, oh, I also wanted to color some of this. Let me, since I have the inks out, let me color some of this. I'm gonna use a lot of this in the book as well, kind of for netting. Let's see what I can pick up. Woo, I almost knocked over my water there, y'all. Oh, that would not have been good. I am just gonna kind of do this. So this is how you can dye literally anything. If you've got material, you've got cheesecloth, ribbon, whatever you have. Oh, so pretty. I love it. I just love the way it looks. Like, look at the way it's looking already, y'all. It kind of looks like a net already. Let's do a little bit of purple, just a tad. And then a little bit of the greenish yellow. And then just wipe it all up. So you can spend the afternoon just dyeing a bunch of stuff, getting it ready for your journal if you're going to craft along. Just pick whatever colors you like. I might have to dye this a little bit more. Let's see. Pick whatever colors you like. If you're going to do the ocean, under the ocean with me, I'm doing like blues, greens, yellows, a little bit of purples, and then even some tans and browns and like vintagey, like sand color. And so these colors will all kind of go together with it, hopefully. That's the plan. But look at that. Look how pretty that'll look when it's all like bunched up or like on a page. I think that's going to be pretty. And then if I need to, I can always go in and add more ink. So I'm going to let this dry. I'll probably need a lot more than this, but this is a start. It's a good start. I'd rather do a little too little than way too much that I'm not going to use. So I could always add more. Okay, so we're going to let this stuff dry. I might dye a little bit more of this, but let me go grab the page that I did, the first page, and let me show you what I'm going to do. Grab that. Okay, so this page is drying right now, but this is just the first layer. So what I'm going to do is tear all my pages. So I'm just actually using just white copy paper. It's a little bit thicker than regular copy paper, but not too thick. And I'm just playing around. Again, I'm smearing the ink with water. I'm dabbing the page in it. You got to be careful so you don't rip your pages. But at first, what I would recommend is tear your pages first. So I'm going to tear all my pages so they all look like ocean waves, kind of. Once these dry, I'm going to go back, I might go back in with some coffee dye, some stamps, or I might add some stenciling with some sprays. I'm just kind of playing with this right now. Right now, I'm doing a lot of pages with these inks. The inks that I've been dyeing all my ribbon with, I'm doing on the pages, so the colors will match. And if you tear your page first, the ink will kind of settle into the torn parts, which make it look cool. Again, I'm going to let this dry, go back in. So this was just one page I was just kind of fooling with. I might get some of my dilution spray and spray some of these. I'm going to do layers on these pages, but this is just the first layer. And so all the pages are going to look like different. We're going to have different torn looks, wavy on all the pages for the signature. So that's kind of what I'm working on as well. So I'm doing all the dyeing. I'm going to work on the cover. And then when I start working on this with all the threads and stuff, I'll show you how I'm going to do that as well. But right now, a lot of this is just a lot of sewing and getting it all together. So I'm going to work on that off camera. But that's how I am starting my journal, y'all. So we already got this situated, and I can already feel how heavy this is with the hard piece inside, so it's going to be perfect. And then this will have the hardback book. And let me see, as this is drying, it's almost dry. I'm going to put another, like a brown layer on this. I'm going to use these, let's see, these tan and browns, and I might take a paper towel and just dab the browns on it to make it look like this, like a stickled look. I'm gonna try to cover this and see how that looks. I might make this a little darker brown for the spine. So I'll just kind of play with that with like a paper towel and dab it so it kind of looks like sand, like this. So little by little, this is just the beginning, y'all. I'm wondering if it's going to turn out as well. It's only about when I'm about 3/4 of the way through that I'm like, oh, it's actually coming together. So, but little by little. So I just wanted to kind of show you the direction I'm going, how I'm going to work on these, where my mind is going on this, and then y'all can follow along. So this is literally just the introduction, but this can at least show you how I am going to put this book together. So anyways, hope you all have a very blessed day. Happy creating. Have fun with it. Get all dirty, y'all. And I'll see you in the next video. Bye.